सावंत आमचे वाइस चेअरमन ते पण आहे.
नमस्कार सर.
सर
मी आता जुलै 2020 ओडीएल MA योगशास्त्राचा विद्यार्थी होतो आपल्या KKSC मध्ये.
छान छान सर, खूप अभिनंदन.
धन्यवाद सर.
तर मग आपण सोनाली लाईव्ह स्ट्रीम झालं सुरू तुझं? अनम्यूट कर. So let us start it. Welcome everybody. As per YVN's tradition, let us begin this program with 3 Omkar and prayer. So for Omkar and prayer, I will request Sonali madam to take over. Over to you, Sonali.
Thank you, Nitin sir. Namaskar, Penna sir. And good evening, everyone. So, as per Yoga Vidyaniketan tradition, we will start today's Yoga Pushpanjali, Pushpa-7, with 3 Omkar followed by prayer. So, take your shoulder back and make your spine straight. Your chin is parallel to the floor, look straight, and now gently drop your eyelids. Your breathing is going normal and natural. We have to inhale fully for each Omkar. So have a deep inhalation. Om. Om. Swaha Tassaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yunah Prachodayam. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanam Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Asato Ma Satgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Keep your eyes closed for a while and enjoy the positive vibration of Omkar and prayer on your body and mind. Now slowly open your eyes. Over to Nitin sir. Thank you everyone.
Thank you, Sonali. Welcome everybody. All of you know that this is Yoga Vidyaniketan is completing its 50 years, and as a part of this Golden Jubilee celebration, we have arranged this Yoga Pushpanjali lecture series since April, and today is our Pushpa-7, that is the 7th lecture in this series. And all of you know that all the time we are selecting different topics and introducing you to newer and newer subjects. And our earlier, all the 6 lecturers have given us wonderful experience. And today also we are going through, definitely we are going through another experience. And we have selected this topic of Dnyaneshwari, secrets of yoga in Dnyaneshwari, especially because we know Sant Dnyaneshwar himself was a great yogi. And generally we think yoga means only asana, postures, physical postures. No, he was a yogi of a highest order. He was a Siddha Purush, and he has given us the experiences, varied experiences in the field of yoga. I'll just, for the commoners, those who know, I'll just tell you. He was a Siddha Purush and had all Siddhis to his, he was very well with the Siddhis. And few stories are told about his Siddhis. One famous story that he made the male buffalo, that is the Reda we call in Marathi, to speak Vedas, just to say that Atma is one in everybody, in all living beings. And he made him speak Vedas. Then one day, younger sister, she wanted to roast Mande, the famous rotis that is famous in the Marathwada and all this region. And there was no firewood. And Dnyaneshwar himself, with his Siddha powers, asked her to roast those rotis on his back and created heat in his body. And another story is also told that another Siddha Purush, Chandeva Maharaj, he came to meet Dnyaneshwar. And while coming, he rode a wild tiger. And everybody was afraid, and he was coming to meet him sitting on a wild tiger. And Dnyaneshwar and his 2 brothers and sister were sitting on a wall. And he made that wall to walk towards to welcome Chandeva Maharaj. So such as the stories and these yoga stories are told about Sant Dnyaneshwar. But the main thing is that it's not about the siddhis of his siddhis, but his great work of bringing this Bhagavad Gita in a Prakrut, that is Dnyaneshwari, in the form of OVs, and that is a great job he has done. And today we have a speaker to speak on this about, and he is a well-versed person. He himself has written the Dnyaneshwari in Sanskrit. And to introduce him, I will just invite Jaya Madam to introduce today's speaker, Professor Dr. Madhusudan Penna, sir. Over to you, Jaya Madam.
Thank you, Nitin sir, and namaste everyone. We are fortunate to have Professor Madhusudan Penna with us today, who is the former Vice Chancellor and presently the Dean and Director of Kavikulguru, Kalidas Sanskrit University. Professor Penna is a renowned scholar of Vedanta, Nyaya Shastra, and great Mahakavi Sanskrit. He is an expert in Western philosophy also. Professor Penna has composed 2 Sanskrit Mahakavyas, Shri Kavya Kanta Charitam and Pradnya Chakshisham. Mahakavya Pradnya Chakshisham has received Sahitya Academy Award in 2019. He has also composed Sanskrit Dnyaneshwari in 9,000 verses, 10 Lagu Kavya and 30 translations. He has been awarded prestigious Central Sahitya Academy Award, honorary DLit by the Central Sanskrit University, Tirupati, Yoga Ratna Award, and many more. Professor Penna has published about 27 books like Mimamsa Darshanam, Yogopanishad, Vaiyakaran, Bhushan sir. So this is the philosophy of Sanskrit. And he has written in various languages such as Sanskrit, Telugu, Marathi, English, and he has published many research papers in various renowned research journals. His DVDs also have been released on various subjects related to Yoga and Advaita Vedanta. So with all these credentials, we all are very eager to listen about the secrets of Yoga in Dnyaneshwari from you, sir. So I once again welcome you on behalf of Yoga Vidya Niketan and request you to take charge of the further proceedings. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Namaste. So my humble namaskaram to all the yoga seekers here. As has been explained by the president of this samstha. So the samstha has been organizing lecture series and this is the 7th. And today we are very fortunate that we will be listening to the secrets of yoga as per Dnyaneshwari. And we all know that Dnyaneshwari is really a matter of pride for all of us. And being himself a great accomplished yogi, he has got a lot to share with the mankind. And his Dnyaneshwari and Marathi Abhanga, of course, Sangadeva Pasashti Haripatha, all these are the records of his knowledge, his yogic experiences. So on one side, we find in him the culmination of jnana. And on the other side, we find in him an accomplished yogi who actually stands as a good example of all that has been explained in the yoga tradition. So such a great towering personality, himself a yogi, jnani, bhakta and a mystic and a great poet, as is evident from his Dnyaneshwari. So such a great saint had worked on the Bhagavad Gita. And Bhagavad Gita was a matter of attraction for several centuries in India, that including the Kashmiri Shaiva scholars, many had written valuable commentaries on that, like Srikantha, Abhinav Gupta. And in the 9th century, we have Adi Shankaracharya's commentary. Then we have Bhagavad Ramanuja commentary and all the other. The greatest commentary in Sanskrit is Madhusudan Saraswati, Gudhartha Deepika. And Mauli also had written a commentary in Marathi in the 12th, 13th centuries on the same Bhagavad Gita and had explained several things. And most of that explanation was based on his personal experience and the Natha tradition. So whatever we find in the Dnyaneshwari as a kind of explanation, that is based on his personal experience and Natha tradition. The Natha tradition that he had received from his eldest brother Nivrittinatha, who in turn had received that from his teacher Gaininatha in Nashik. So such a great tradition. And I have prepared some slides. If you permit, I can share that also. Yeah, there is a problem in sharing, but no problem. So in the beginning of Dnyaneshwari, for this we have to understand the context in which the Bhagavad Gita had manifested itself, then Dnyaneshwari, the social, religious and spiritual traditions, the currents flowing. So in India, we find that when Bhagavad Gita had manifested itself as a part of the Mahabharata, Bhishma Parva. So we find in that a kind of amalgamation, a kind of synthesis of all the systems prevalent in India. So at the time when Vyasa Maharshi had composed this is of course debated, highly debated one, whether Vyasa Maharshi composed or other person, but still Bhagavad Gita is found in the Bharata. And there we find this Bhagavad Gita as a kind of dialogue between Sri Krishna and Arjuna. So Sri Krishna Arjuna Samvade, we say. And Bhagavad Gita itself is really great opening into the fathoms of Indian philosophy. Because on one side we have the Charvaka, Bauddha, Jaina. By the time of Mahabharata also, all these systems were really in existence in India, because at the time of Ramayana, we have the mention of one Nastika, and at the time of Mahabharata also. Mahabharata came later, first Ramayana. So Brihaspati Shishya, the Charvaka, were already there. Then Gautama Buddha, Vardhaman Mahavir, and their philosophy like Buddhism and Jainism, they were also prevalent before this Mahabharata, that at many places their ideologies have been referred to, and of course they are criticized because they are non-Vedic. And Vyasa Maharshi had always made this kind of effort to bring out the merits of Vedic ideology. So in that particular process, he has even made some reforms into the thought of Vedas. So Vyasa Maharshi did not take the Vedas as they are. If you just give an idea to that, you can understand that Vyasa Maharshi has been credited with the classification of the Veda, Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samveda, Atharvaveda, but at the same time, in his Mahabharata, in his Puranas, and in his Bhagavad Gita, Vyasa Maharshi had tried to throw light on the hidden meaning of the Veda. So therefore, sometimes he had brought some reforms into the Vedic ideology. So such a great contribution. And in the Bhagavad Gita also, he wanted to put into light or bring into light the ideology that was prevalent even before him during his period, like Sankhya, Yoga, Bhakti, Jnana, Vedanta. So everything here, like Kshetra, Kshetrajna, Jiva, Ishvara. So all these concepts were to be reconciled with, were to be synthesized with, and were to be elucidated for the sake of the common man. And that great task was performed by sage Vedavyasa, whom we call with all reverence as Bhagavan Vedavyasa. So such was the great Mahabharata and Bhagavata. And when Dnyaneshwari Maharaj appeared, we know that it was 13th century, and he was very young, but still he was very fortunate to have received the sacred knowledge of yoga from his great accomplished yogi Nivrittinath Maharaj. So in that particular tender age, Dnyaneshwar Maharaj got that sacred knowledge that got assimilated in his essence, and Dnyaneshwar Maharaj had attempted a commentary on the Bhagavad Gita. And in his opinion, this is Bharata Kamala Paravu Gitakhya Prasangu. So as he says in the Dnyaneshwari, this Mahabharata is like a lotus. Bharata Kamala Paravu. And from that lotus, whatever pollen had appeared, so that is Gitakhya Prasangu. So that appeared in the Gita. Jo Samvadala Srirangu Arjunasi. So that was the conversation between Arjuna and Sri Krishna, and under the pretext of addressing Arjuna, Sri Krishna had addressed the entire humanity, the entire mankind, and had passed on the sacred knowledge. Because once you get this knowledge, once you understand what Lord Krishna desires to communicate to us, you are relieved. All your physical, mental, psychological, spiritual, intellectual problems are solved. That's why one Bhagavad Gita is equal to many Vedas. And in the Dnyaneshwari 18th chapter, Mauli says with all reverence that I place this Bhagavad Gita above the Vedas, because Vedas have limitations. Vedas are meant for only one class of the society, while Bhagavad Gita, this is for everyone. So therefore, I consider that this Bhagavad Gita is greater than the Veda, he says. So sometimes it may be exaggeration, sometimes a very great fact, because the Vedas appeared when Bhagavan was sleeping. Tasya Nishwasitam. So the Vedas, they manifested like his very easy breath. But the Bhagavad Gita, Mauli says, when Lord Krishna was awakened, that means he was fully conscious, he was not sleeping, then he had consciously presented this Bhagavad Gita to the mankind. And therefore, Bhagavad Gita is greater than the Veda. This is the place accorded by Mauli himself. And that's why he says, ki jaise dolya anjana bhete, te veli drushti si phata pute. So just as when divine collyrium is applied to your eyes, you get a different vision, and all the hidden secrets will be open to you. Mag vasa pahije te pragate mahanidhi. So wherever you see, you can find there the hidden treasure. Similarly, ka chintamani zaliya hati sada vijayavritti manoradhi taisami purnakam sri nivritti jnana devo mane. So just like a person who gets the chintamani gets all his desires fulfilled. Similarly, I have got this from my Guru Sri Nivrittinatha, and now all my desires are fulfilled. So this is the idea that Jnanadev Maharaj had behind the composition of this commentary, that I am very fortunate to have received this knowledge directly from my Guru, eldest brother Nivrittinatha, and I am fully convinced that this is the sacred knowledge that the mankind has been searching for. And on receiving this, the eternity is assured. So that is the assurance and confidence that Mauli has. And now, when we come to the context of Bhagavad Gita, we find there that it is actually a kind of ascent, a kind of journey into eternity. Arjuna, who is having a limited identity as Arjuna, that is Pandava, Panduputra, and he stood between two armies, and he was totally baffled, and he was unable to decide whether to fight against his own people and kill them and enjoy the kingdom, or simply give up everything and return. So this is actually the problem everybody faces in one or the other time in his life. So whether to fight or flight, whether to go ahead or retreat. So this is the biggest problem that Arjuna had faced. And had there been any other person in the place of Sri Krishna, he would have suggested Arjuna that he should leave because he was not mentally prepared. But Sri Krishna had understood the plight of Arjuna, the mental condition of Arjuna. That Arjuna himself was a great warrior, was a great knowledgeable person, but still the situation was so worse that Arjuna was not in a position to take a proper decision. So this dilemma is highlighted in the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, that whether to fight with own people or to just renounce everything and retire to a forest. So this kind of a dilemma, complex situation was there. And we all know that as a good counselor, Lord Krishna had understood first the mental condition of Arjuna, then he gave proper counseling to Arjuna so that he could come out of that situation and get to his duty. As a Kshatriya, Arjuna's duty was to fight for the sake of dharma, not for the sake of family. Because the fight was within the family. That is Kuru Vamsha, Kaurava. Even Pandavas are Kaurava only. And Kauravas are definitely Kaurava. So Duryodhana, all his brothers, etc., they are Kaurava. And Dharmaraja and his brothers, all these are also Kaurava. The only difference is these are born to Pandu, though those were born to Dhritarashtra. So it is very proper that Dhartarashtra will be the proper word for Duryodhana and others. Pandava will be the proper word for these five. So in this manner, we understand that it was a fight within the family. And quite natural that a sensitive person like Arjuna had faced the crisis, and at the outset he had openly said to Lord Krishna that drive my chariot to the place where I can see both the armies. And then he has given instruction that now I would like to get back. All this is nonsense. I cannot fight with my own people, kill them and enjoy the kingdom. Better that I will renounce everything. So this is the situation. Then Lord Krishna had taken the reins in his hand, and from the second chapter onwards, he has given the nectar called Bhagavad Gita. This is Bhagavad Gita, or the wisdom that was directly passed on by Lord himself, the Almighty Krishna himself. So in this second chapter, he has taken Arjuna into the secrets of Sankhya Yoga. So the first instruction he had given to Arjuna is that, hey Arjuna, you think you are a great intellectual person, you are a wise person, and whatever you have been telling is in fact not a sign of wisdom. Because whatever you have been telling me, this does not show any sign of wisdom. That's what exactly he said. Considering that all these bodies are created by you, you feel that you don't have any right to kill them. And without you also, all these will definitely face death. So death is imminent. And you think that you are the doer, you are responsible for everything. You yourself are in the snare of this death, but still you think that you are causing death to all your people. So here he says, in fact, the one that is being killed and the one that is eternal, these two things are distinct. You are mistaking. So with this, actually, the teaching begins. First thing is that who is doing, with what he will be doing everything, what is eternal, what is non-eternal. If these things are made clear, then second step will be whether you take recourse to action or retreat, that will be left to you. But the fact should be brought out. With this intention only, Lord Krishna had begun his instruction with second Sankhya Yoga, and very clearly stated, Antavanta ime deha nityasyokta sharirinaha. So this is the yoga called Sankhya Yoga or Jnana Yoga. So this is the beginning. And he says, if you get this valid knowledge, real knowledge, uncontradicted knowledge, then you are saved. All other knowledge will be filled with doubts, misunderstanding, and when your understanding is misguided, when your understanding is filled with doubts, etc., that knowledge, that understanding will not be complete, and it will not take us anywhere. It will be just like beating around the bush. So with this idea only, Lord Krishna has given the Sankhya Yoga first. And I would like to tell you all that Lord Krishna had given this. Vyasa Maharshi is said to have recorded this, and it is available in the form of Bhagavad Gita. But there are many secrets of yoga that were not made explicit by Vyasa Maharshi, Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya. All the previous great teachers, spiritual masters, had, for unknown reason, left these untouched. So some of these yoga secrets, they are remaining in Bhagavad Gita untouched. So therefore, when Mauli had composed this in Navasa, this Dnyaneshwari, a commentary on the Bhagavad Gita in 9,000 verses, so he was fully aware that when other commentaries are available, what is the use of a new commentary? The novelty of this commentary, one, it is in Marathi. But that alone does not bring glory to this commentary, because so many Marathi books were there already. So this Dnyaneshwari is not popular for the sake of its Marathi language. But there are other features also. Like, this reflects all the beauty of a good poem. It reflects all the depth of great spiritual text. It reflects all the virtues of a good text. And moreover, this text presents in a very intelligible, digestible format the various yoga methods, yoga systems, and their application in life. And no scope you can find in this Dnyaneshwari for any doubt, misunderstanding, lack of clarity. Such things are not found in the Dnyaneshwari. So this Sankhya Yoga, Dnyaneshwar Maharaj makes clear in the second. And this Sankhya comes from the word Samkhya. Sam means valid, true. Khya means knowledge. So the word Sankhya and Sankhya mean valid knowledge, right knowledge, uncontradicted, thus perfect. So the perfection or the ultimateness of knowledge lies in the fact that it should be free from all doubt, suspicion, misunderstanding. Then only such knowledge can take us to higher level in our spiritual life. And where to start it with? Where to start the yoga journey? For that, the third chapter is given in the Bhagavad Gita as Karma Yoga. So we find here in the third chapter, Karma Yoga, Adha Trutiyodhyaya, he says. And this chapter also begins with a natural query by Arjuna. Jayasi chet karmanaste matabuddhir janardana tatkim karmani ghore mam niyojayasi keshava. Now, second chapter is Jnana Yoga. Third chapter is Karma Yoga. Because Jnana is also yoga, Karma is also yoga. But the problem is, Lord Krishna was trying to explain to Arjuna that there is one eternal reality. You are unnecessarily attaching importance to all non-eternal things, trivial, transient things. And by doing that, you are actually forgetting. You are closing your eyes to the fact that there is some eternal reality. Before that, nothing is valuable, precious. And therefore, karma is actually inferior to jnana. And this has actually confused Arjuna. And Arjuna asks very aptly in the beginning of the third chapter that, hey Lord, if you think knowledge is greater than action, then why are you unnecessarily forcing me to indulge myself in this war? On one side, you are telling that yudhyasva, you fight. And on the other side, you are telling all these things are waste, action is meaningless, final knowledge is great. So because of this, I am getting confused. Just confirm one thing. Tad ekam vada nishchitya yena shirayoham apnayam. And now Sri Krishna begins with this, that lokesmin dvividhanishta pura purukta mayanaga. So Arjuna, in this world, there are two paths, jnana, yogena, sankhyanam. For the intellectual people, there is jnana yoga, and karma yogena, yoginam. And for all the other yogi, there is karma yoga. So karma yoga and jnana yoga are the two paths. And Shankaracharya is very clear that karma yoga and jnana yoga are stated here in this particular chapter as two different paths. And therefore, there cannot be any question of amalgamation of these two. That means you cannot have a kind of admixture of action and knowledge, because in the opinion of Adi Shankaracharya, karma goes against jnana. Jnana is like light. Karma is like darkness. So they cannot go together. That is the idea of Shankaracharya. And in this particular context, Mauli takes the idea of karma yoga and explains to a common reader how karma is indispensable with, how it is ineluctable, how you have to go with karma. Karma, akarma, vikarma. Three things are there. Karma is what is being done, what happens, that takes place naturally. But akarma, your inactivity. These three things are very serious in the eyes of Lord Krishna and Vyasa Maharshi. That's why Mauli very clearly says that when we are all confronted with the complex situation like karma, something is happening, something I have to do deliberately, something I have to keep away. Three things are very important. And how to understand all these? Bhagavad Gita itself says, ultimately you have Shastra for that. Only Shastra can tell you clearly what should be done, what should be avoided. And Dnyaneshwari Mauli clearly explains in this situation that all this system has been given by God only for the sake of mankind. So out of compassion, Lord has given us all these, that something is necessary for your livelihood. This is karma. But for your elevation in your spiritual life, you are supposed to do something deliberately, forcibly. You have to do that. That is for your good. And in this path of spiritual life, you should always keep yourself away from some activities, vikarma, so that you should not do. And the main problem between two things here is one is inaction and action. Now we understand, connect with the first chapter, the situation of Arjuna, that he was asking Krishna that all these are my relatives, kith and kin. I cannot fight with all of them. I cannot kill them. I cannot enjoy the kingdom in their absence. Therefore, I would like to flee from this battleground. See, this is the situation faced by many people in their life. That no, enough is enough. Now I withdraw. So they prefer solitude. They prefer to live alone. They actually withdraw from all social activities. And Lord is afraid that that particular one, the withdrawal, will take them to a kind of negativity. So inactivity is not yoga. So this Vyasa Maharshi had also observed that many people, they were running away from their duties. They were keeping themselves away from their responsibilities. And they were thinking that they were leading a yoga life. No. What is truly yoga life? Whether living alone, pressing nostrils, taking deep breathing and breathe out, and sitting in different postures? Or does yoga signify anything else more than all that? This is very important. So that's why in this third chapter, when Arjuna says that you say that action is not good, but at the same time you are asking me to put myself into action. So now you finalize. Then Lord Krishna had continued the instruction, saying that, see, I'll tell you definitely that if you think that you can withdraw from all responsibilities, duties, and stay at one place, not doing anything, this is not yoga. Nahi karmanam anarambhat naishkarmyam purushoshnute. This is a very important message. And this yoga, nacha sanyasanadeva siddhim samadhi gacchati. So just sitting alone or giving up everything, these are not signs of siddhi. Nobody can get spiritual accomplishment. For that, you should take recourse to karma, and that karma will take you or make you eligible for the higher level. Then you get eligible for the next level, that is dhyana yoga, then jnana yoga, then that jnana yoga will take you to the final bhakti yoga. So this particular, the ascent, the order of ascension, so that was given by Lord Krishna. And beautifully in the 6th chapter, Mauli also explains how all this is essential in the path of yoga to get to the zenith, the top level of yoga. So one should begin with karma. But generally people underconsider this karma, saying that karma is not necessary, karma is a bandha, so I should go for jnana, dhyana, etc. But without karma, even that jnana will not be complete. So that idea is given in the 3rd chapter, and Mauli therefore presents a beautiful metaphor in the 6th chapter, where he says that the yoga siddhi itself is like a big mountain, and if you want to really ascend, then you have to start with karma yoga. This is abhyasa yoga, he says. That is given in the 12th chapter also. So in this manner, the 3rd chapter presents beautiful picture of the jnana karma and how karma can take us to the next level. And this yoga, Lord says, this is parampara prapta yoga. I had taught this to others also. But aparam bhavato janma, param janma vivasvataha. So Arjuna asks, see, you teaching yoga to Vivaswan is unbelievable, because they are all later. See, the Vivaswan was born long back, and you belong to this particular Dwapara Yuga. So you are junior. So how can I believe that you have taught this to Vivaswan and others? Then Lord Krishna explains that you see only the body, physical body, and think that this body should be permanent. But I understand that I am actually traveling through. And this is very great secret, that if you are able to understand really, Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo ve completely, then you are a real yogi. It is very difficult. So this Lord Krishna says and explains to him further that Janma, Karma, these two are divine. Divyam evam yovetti. So in this manner he explains and says, being in this world of karma, you can always keep yourself above karma, away from karma, so that that karma will not bind you. Here, Mauli gives a beautiful example that how our own idea, our own mind binds us. He says at one place that a parrot kept in a cage that moves around restlessly and puts its leg into one of the threads there, and when it is caught, actually it is making all efforts that it is caught in that. Because of its efforts only it is caught in that, and it starts shrieking, I am caught, I am caught. Actually, nobody has put that parrot in bondage. It was free, but still, because of its action, it was put into bondage. Similarly, the mankind, all people, they make unnecessary actions, and because of them, they get ensnared in this world, and they start shouting that, oh, I am in bondage, somebody should be there to free me, etc. So this is Shukanyaya, he says, and Gulabram Maharaj also quoted this. And all karma, yajnarthat karmanonyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha, this beautifully presents the idea of Bhagavad Gita that if you don't have a cosmic vision, if you are just confined to this physical body, psychological entity, then your karma will be a source of bondage. But if you can elevate yourself and understand that something cosmic is taking place, this vast Brahma, and within that everything taking place, then it will not be any cause of bondage. So Mauli explains this in the 4th and 5th chapters, that everybody thinks that he is in bondage, and that bondage is nothing but his own mind. And therefore, kritvapi nalipyate, kritvapi nalibadhyate. So at several places it is given there that ultimately it is our mind that is the cause of bondage. But a yogi who has a balanced mind, that means equipoised state, krutvapi nalibadhyate. So even something takes place through his body, he is not bound. That means there is no bondage, because it is happening and he is not putting himself into that. Yajnaya acharatah karma samadgram praviliyate is the message given in the 4th chapter, that one should always have the cosmic vision, the macro vision, that all this is a big universe, and in that a dust particle like earth is floating, and on that particular dust particle we are all there clinging to that like microbes, but still we have our own ego, superego, megalomania, and we are all suffering, and we are putting others also to suffering because of our limited psychological conditioning. And the entire Bhagavad Gita is to pull us out of this and open us into a very broader, wider, brighter life called yoga. Brahmarpanam Brahma Havihi. So whatever you do here, the action is Brahma and the result is Brahma. All paraphernalia is Brahma. The doer is Brahma. So everything is within the cosmic reality, not out of that. And when everything is done with this awareness, then nobody will get any bondage. But this particular knowledge is very difficult to obtain. Now we understand. From Vishada Yoga, second Sankhya Yoga, third Karma Yoga, then Jnana Karma Yoga. That means first he said, see, you cannot run away from war. This is your duty, he said. Then he had explained all the reality, Jnana Yoga. Then he said, you cannot run away from karma. Though Jnana is important, you cannot run away from karma. Then your knowledge should be supported by your action. That means without action, knowledge has no meaning. And without knowledge, action does not have any strength. So knowledge that actually gets support from your action, and action derives all strength from jnana. Thus jnana and karma, they could go together. That jnana karma is explained in the 4th, and further jnana karma sannyasa. That means even if a person renounces karma, that should be out of jnana only. That means a jnani renouncing karma and an ajnani renouncing karma. Lot of difference is there. Ki jnani, like a jnani sits in meditation, and ajnani just sleeps. Lot of difference is there. Because for ajnani it is tamoguna, for jnani it is sattva-guna. And sattva prakarsha is the source of all knowledge. So atmavantam na karmani nibadhananti dhananjaya. So a jnani, because he is totally posed in the jnana, atmavan na karmani nibadhananti. So towards the end of the 4th chapter, Lord Krishna explains very clearly that you be totally established in yourself. This is the message that Bhagavad Gita has given. Dnyaneshwari Mauli had perfectly understood and has presented in the Dnyaneshwari that Nirdvandvo Nitya Sattvastho Niryoga Kshema Atmavan. This Atmavan is the true message, and this is possible only by the regular practice of yoga. Then what is that yoga practice? Should I do asana only, or shatkarma, or pranayama, or meditation? What is true yoga? So throughout this Dnyaneshwari, we find importance being given to karma yoga, jnana yoga, dhyana yoga, bhakti yoga, and ultimately bhakti yoga is presented as the final resort of everything. That means all the other yogas should bring such maturity in us that all our knowledge will culminate in bhakti. So that bhakti in the eyes of Dnyaneshwar Mauli also is the highest. That is Parabhakti, that Sahaja Sthiti. So only to take us closer to that state of bhakti, the 5th chapter is also presented in that. The 5th chapter, Sannyasam, Karmanam, Yogam. See, on one side, Krishna is telling that karma yoga, that means you perform your duties. And on the other side, at few places, he was telling karma sannyasa, give up everything. So this is actually the problem. That yat shreya etayorekam tanme bruhi sunishchitam. Between these two, whether indulgence in actions is good or renunciation of everything is good. So this again baffles Arjuna. And in the 5th chapter, Sankhya and Yoga, how these two lead to a single fruit. Sankhya Yoga Prathak Balav Pravadanti na Panditaha. So only the dull-witted think that Sankhya and Yoga are mutually different. Sankhya is theory, Yoga is practice. But Lord Krishna says, Ekamapyastitaha samyak. That means if you put yourself 100% to either of these two, either Sankhya or Yoga, Ubhayor Vindate Phalam, you will get the fruit of both. That means you need not practice both, but practice either of these two very sincerely, honestly, and with all conviction. Because yet Sankhya prapyate sthanam tad yogairapi gamyate. Ekam Sankyam Yogancha. So this is explained in the 5th chapter, that Sankhya and Yoga, they actually have same fruit. The problem is that you cannot renounce everything without jnana. And even if you think that you can renounce, or you have renounced everything without jnana, without really knowing the reality or realizing the thing, if you renounce everything, that will not be sannyasa. That will be only palayanam. So a lot of difference is there. Yoga yukto munir brahma nachirena adhigacchati. That's why it is stated here that yoga yukta, yoga is important. Almost as far as I remember, some 17 to 19 places he has used yukta, yoga. So these words are repeatedly used in the Bhagavad Gita to emphasize that this particular mental condition is very important. And yoga, if you take in the sense of connecting yourself, this should be in the form of connecting with the cosmic reality. And at every moment, being in the awareness of that cosmic reality itself is yoga. That while doing karma, if you have that awareness, karma yoga. While understanding something, if you have the awareness, it is jnana yoga. While emotionally putting yourself to something, it is bhakti yoga. So whether you withdraw and remain in that state, dhyana yoga, or whether you make yourself unlimited and get one with that, become one with that, like in the dhyana yoga. So anyone can be yoga if you really connect with the cosmic or supreme reality. So yoga yukto vishuddhatma. So everywhere you find this particular statement, that this yoga is very important. And very typically, yoga with all its secrets is presented in the 5th chapter, while Dnyaneshwari Mauli has presented the Kundalini Yoga in the 6th chapter. So actually the scope is more in the 5th chapter only. You find there that at every moment you should be aware of the reality, tattva with. So whatever you are doing, whatever activity you are engaged in, that you be tattva with. That means what is actually taking place, who is actually compelling me to action, and what is sannyasa, what is jnana. So if this awareness is there, Pashyan, Shrunvan, Sprushan, Jigran, Ashnan, Gachan, Swapan, Shwasan, Pralapan, Visrujan, Grandhan, Unmishan, Nimishannapi. Well, all these activities are taking place. If you have the awareness that Prakriti is just acting, then you are a Tattvavit, then all this will not bind you. For that, Brahmani adhaya karmani sangam tyaktva karoti yaha, he said. That means this all the karma should be realized as being performed by the Prakriti within the Brahma. So therefore, there will not be any attachment to that. Sangam tyaktva, lipyatena sa papena. So no karma will get glued to us, accrued to us. Thus, yoginah karma kurvanti sangam tyaktva atma shuddhaye. So when yogi performs a karma, it is only for the sake of atma shuddhi or samaja shuddhi. Because not always atma shuddhi. Once atma shuddhi is achieved, then the next target of yogi will be samaja. That means the upliftment of all the distressed. So for that, yogi will be doing something. So those two things are there. Yunjana level, he is just on probation that yogi will be doing everything for his own purity. But on achieving that, he will be doing everything, or everything will take place through him for the sake of the society. Thus, yukta is the word used here in the 5th chapter at several places, that you should have the cosmic awareness, connect to yourself, and this is not physically, this is intellectually. That means knowledge. That's why Shankara Bhagavad-pada reiterates everywhere in his Bhashya that Jnanat Kaivalyam, Jnanad Evatu Kaivalyam. Why that? Why Jnana? Because unless you have this awareness, unless some change takes place within your understanding, nothing will help you. So ultimately, this change should take place in your mind, in your understanding. Thus he says. And in this 5th chapter, Sarva Karmani Manasa Sanyasya Aste Sukham Vashi Navadware Pure Dehi Naiva Kurvan Nakarayan. This is the stage of Jivan Mukta. And here, na kartrutva, na bhoktrutva, nothing will be there, he says. And this is the equipoised state, the state of equilibrium, that the yogi is totally quiet and he is not perturbed by any external, internal influences. He is not influenced, and this lack of influence is the sign of yoga. That rupa, rasa, gandha, sparsha, shabda, nothing will disturb him, nothing will influence him. And this influence was recorded by Patanjali Maharshi in his Yoga Sutra, Vritti Sarupya Mitaratra. So if you remain in the state of complete yoga, Drashtuhu Swarupya Avasthana. And if you allow yourself in the Dvaita world to be totally influenced, that influence will be Vritti Sarupya. And you will be always thinking that you are good or bad, you are great or not great, you are intellectual or dull-witted. All these are all only psychological fluctuations. And when Samyam is attained, Ihai Vatair Jitassargaha Yesham Samye Sthitam Manaha. So this balanced state is achieved with the help of yoga. And what kind of yoga? First you purify your body, then you purify your mind, then your intellect. And when all these are purified, like in the Kriya Yoga, Tapaha Swadhyaya Ishvara Pranidhanani Kriya Yoga. So by the constant practice of tapas, if you purify yourself, tapaha, that is body purity, then mental purity, then speech also. That means in thought and speech there should be purity. So all this is Kriya Yoga. When there is purity, that will take us finally to the Ritambhara Prajna. Without this purity, the mind will be wavering, and restless mind, agitated mind, that is against the state of samadhi. And therefore, Lord Krishna explains in the 5th chapter that ultimately there should be a state of balanced, and that is achieved by regular practice of other yoga like the Hatha Yoga, because then only you become eligible for Raj Yoga. So first Hatha Yoga, their importance is given to the body purity, cleanliness. Then you can expect a promotion into the higher level of yoga. So in this process, Mauli explains the Kundalini Yoga in the 6th chapter. In the 6th chapter, we find a continuity of whatever was presented in the 5th, a continuity. So he says there, Yam Sanyasamiti Prahu Yogam Tam Vidhi Pandava. So ultimately, whatever has been stated in the Shastra as sannyasa is not different from yoga. People understand sannyasa yoga, but in the opinion of Lord Krishna, sannyasa is not different from yoga. People think that sannyasa means withdrawal, yoga means connecting. So opposite they understand. But Krishna says, actually they are one. The terms are different. And here, if you really want to ascend the heights of yoga, in the beginning you require karma. Arurukshor muner yogam karma karanamuchyate. Without karma, you cannot expect achieving the higher levels of yoga. But when you reach the zenith, the top of the yoga, shamah karanamuchyate, you become shanta, tranquility. Then no karma is there. And if some karma takes place also, you are not involved in that. In this manner, Uddharet Atmana Atmana, Natmanam Avasadayet, etc. These instructions are found in the 6th chapter only. So you raise yourself to that level. And here, the summum bonum of all yoga is Kundalini Yoga, because this actually makes a person eligible for the higher level. Therefore, Mauli presents a beautiful picture of Kundalini Yoga here. Kundalini Jagadamba, he says in the 6th chapter. See, Kundalini was mentioned in Hatha Yoga, that Hatha Pradipika and other. In Tantra Shastra also Kundalini is there, Shatchakra Nirupana is there. Even in Yoga Vasishta, you have some mention of all this, but unfortunately, no earlier text throws light on these matters, the hidden secrets of Kundalini Yoga, the way Mauli presents or throws light on them. Because exactly what happens, the Prana Apana Aikya, that Shatchakra Bhedana and especially Manipura involvement in that. And how does it look like? The Kundalini, how does it look like? What happens to the body? In the beginning, what happens? Is there any cause of fear? Then will it be ultimate, or will there be another higher stage in Kundalini Yoga? All these are really top secrets, but even including Gorakhnath Maharaj in Siddha Siddhanta Paddhati or Goraksha Shataka or any other text in his Samvada also. And even Kashmiri, to some level they have explained the Kundalini, Sushumna Nadi, Madhya Nadi they have explained. And Abhinav Gupta also had thrown light on some aspects of this yoga, but still it is incomplete. So this comes out of his own experience. Just a minute, I'll put light. Yeah. So much of Jnana Prakasha. So, in the 6th chapter, Mauli explains many of these top secrets of Kundalini Yoga, and he calls this as Jagadamba. And drawing inspiration from this single word, Gulabrao Maharaj explains further that the Kundalini present in all the individual bodies can be the Adishesha in a collective manner. That means individually it is Kundalini and collectively it is the same Adishesha on which the Vishnu sleeps or takes rest. So that Kundalini Jagadamba is the most cryptic, or you can say mystic word that Mauli had used in the Dnyaneshwari. And te Kundalini Jagadamba je Chaitanya Chakravartichi Shobha. So this Kundalini is a representative of Chaitanya Chakravarti in our body. And that the Almighty, or you can say the omnipotent Chaitanya consciousness, that actually is reflected in this Kundalini. That's why this is Chaitanya Chakravartichi Shobha. Jia Vishwa Bijachiya Kumbha Sauli Keli. And Mauli understands this, that this Kundalini present in all individual bodies is the cause of entire universe, complete universe. So Vishwa, the Vishwa is rooted in this Kundalini only. Now, when yogi regularly practices various asanas, then tasmin sati shwasa prashwasayoh gati vicheda, then he will become eligible for the pranayama. And for several months or several years, he practices pranayama only with a focused mind. That means with a clear objective that I am doing this not time pass or not for my namesake or fame sake. This is to get the higher level. So when he practices pranayama, when he becomes eligible for the next level, then all this that has been explained by Mauli becomes a matter of experience to him. So whatever he explains, that will remain obscure, ambiguous, if the yogi himself does not practice that. So he has to practice that so that he will be eligible for the next level. And there he says that this body is a place of 72,000 nadi, but according to Shiva Samhita, 3.5 lakh nadis are there in the body, and there some 14 are important, and within the 14 also you have 3 important nadi, Ida, Pingala and Sushumna. And the Kundalini, that is actually totally in a dormant state, should be properly awakened so that the Kundalini will enter into the Sushumna. So the Kundalini entering into the Sushumna itself is a grand event in the life of any yogi. Jiva Brahmaikya Raja Yoga Saramrita, a great text, explains this process and says that in one's life, even when the Kundalini touches the Sushumna, there will be several accomplishments. And if it can pass through the Sushumna, through crossing each chakra to the Vishuddhi and further Ajna and Sahasrara, then he will be great yogi, Sarvajna. And when it reaches the Sahasrara, he becomes the Brahman. So this idea is also explained, and how the Kundalini becomes the Prana, that is also explained in this particular chapter, 6th chapter. And the beauty of this commentary lies in the fact that the dormant Kundalini become totally awakened. So the Supta and Jagrita Kundalini, the entire yogic life is between these two only. all ayogi, that means Supta Kundalini. Yogi means Jagrata Kundalini, that's all. And he explains that when this Kundalini first touches Sushumna, then Prana and Apana become one. Then Kundalini becomes straight. Otherwise, it is 3.5, a coiled serpent. But now it becomes straight. And Nagache Pile, Kunkume Nahale. So he describes that it is like the small young snakes that have taken bath in the Kunkuma, so radiant, standing on their tip of tail. So thus the Kundalini just awakened, that stands straight, touching the Vishuddhi, he says. Then Vadana Gheuni Ale Seje Jese Taishiti Kundalini Motaki Outa Vadani Adhomukha Sarpini Nijali Ase. So it's actually Adhomukha Sarpini. Now it becomes facing upward, like our Hridaya Kamala. So otherwise it is facing downward. And Vishokava Jyotishmati, that explains to us that this Kamala should be made upward and it should face upward, and we should imagine that each one is opening and it is blossoming. So that is Vishoka, a kind of yoga practice. So this Kundalini, he has explained, Tetha Nakshatra Jaise Ulandale. So when Kundalini is awakened, then there will be full brightness within. But before that, when Prana and Apana get one, so all the essence of body, even from the bones, everything is dried up completely. So Mauli explains that when this Kundalini is awakened, the essence of body is totally dried up, and even good Hatha Yogins run away from this. That means they withdraw, they come back, they get fear. But he says, no need to fear. Vigata bhihi, without any fear, you march ahead. Then you have higher states of beatitude, ecstatic movements in your yogic practice, that you will experience the beautiful moments of yoga, that there will be brightness, there will be at the same time total peace within. All this is explained by Mauli. Tethe nakshatra jaise ulandale ki suryache asana modale tejache bija virudhale ankureshi. So this is the explanation. Ashiti jagrata jhaleli kundali. So this explanation we don't find anywhere else. And in this process, somewhere he explains, Jo moodabandhe kondala apanu maghuta muradala to savechi vari sakandala fugu dhari kshobhale ban maze. Here he says Manipure si junje rahoniya. So he says Manipura, it touches, it agitates that Manipura, then marches. So this is, unless one has the experience of this, it is very difficult to explain the entire process. And Mauli explains in this process only, when it touches the Anahata Nada Shravana, he explains. And Gulabrao Maharaj says, when Kundalini reaches this Anahata, when Anahata Chakra is opened, then that particular yogi will listen to the Vedas that are present in the air. That means in the sound form, they are eternal, they are there. Only when the yogi reaches the point of Anahata and when it opens, then only he will be able to listen to the natural sounds of this Veda. And there the Kundalini becomes the prana in the Anahata Hridaya. And there Nada, Bindu, Kala that are mentioned in the Tantra Shastra, they all disappear, they become one. And that is actually the state Pinde, Pindasa, Grasu. So it was explained in the 6th chapter that Nada Sampradaya, that lays utmost importance on this Shat Chakra and Kundalini. Some people say, like Pense, they say that Dnyaneshwar Mauli's yoga is not Kundalini yoga, it is Jnana yoga only. Though it is Natha yoga, it does not give mm, much importance to the Kundalini, Shatchaka, etc. But in Tantra Shastra, they are there. And a glimpse of that can be found in the 6th chapter of Dnyaneshwari. Pindane Pindacha Grasu. So there it is given. Pinde Pindacha Grasu Toha Natha Sanketacha Damshu. Pari Dauni Gela Uddeshu Mahavishnu. So here the entire body that actually melts within, that becomes one, and again a new body appears. In other texts also it is mentioned that when the Kundalini awakening is taking place, then the yogi does not get a young body, he will get the body of a child. So such a body he will get. And Mauli repeats the same idea, that it is not young body, it is a child's body that he will get, and he will be eligible for further. And this particular Kundalini awakening will make him eligible for the next level, that is Viveka Khyati. In the form of Ritambhara Prajna, he will get it. And further, that Ritambhara Prajna will take him to the Dharmamegha Samadhi, and the next level will be complete Jnana. Jnanasya Anantyat Jnayam Alpam. So this idea is given in the Dnyaneshwari. And of course, Dnyaneshwar Mauli understands the relative importance of all the yoga types. Therefore, he does not completely discard anything saying that it is of no importance. He, on the other hand, he reconciles all these systems and their relative um, importance also he presents in the Dnyaneshwari. And he will take us through this to the final, as I told you, the Parabhakti, or the culmination of all bhakti. That Parabhakti
I think सरांचा bandwidth मुळे काहीतरी प्रॉब्लेम झाला नेट.
Network problem.
Yeah, there is some problem in his network. Let us wait. He has logged out. Please bear with us. I am trying to contact him. Contact sir. नहीं मैं करते बोल लो. He is trying from his side. We'll wait till he gets connection.
What about question answer session?
Question answers you can ask, definitely. You do one thing. If you have questions, you put it in the chat box. We'll ask him, definitely. Please put it in the chat box. We'll ask him all the questions.
He is joined.
Yeah. Yeah, Jai. Sir, please unmute yourself, sir. Penna, sir, please unmute yourself. Thank you.
So we are all like ripples on the surface of this ocean of consciousness, and in this manner we are not different from the consciousness, and this realization will take us to heights of spiritual life. Mauli believes and instructs us to remain in that particular awareness always. Amrutachiya sagari je samarthyachi tori techide amruta lahari chuli ghetuliya, he says somewhere. And in this process, if we negate the world and try to get to the consciousness as a single one, absolute one, Mauli says we will be totally misled. So jaga saruni parote maga mate bhajate. So he says somewhere that you discard the world and try to find me. That will be your bigger mistake. Therefore, find me in everything around. I am this. So with this instruction, he concludes, and this is the beautiful message he has given, that this Vishwa itself is the Vishnu, and one should not try to get to the God energy, negating this world, negating duties, negating life. So everything is within this. So with this, I stop here. I think I have made a successful effort to get at least as an ounce of Dnyaneshwari idea to you. So if it is helpful, bless me. Thank you all. Namaste.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I know this subject was little bit difficult to understand, but you made it very simple, because this Kundalini Shakti and all, these are all beyond explanation. Only those yogis who have explained, but Mauli being one of the greatest saints, he has made it very simple and explained, and you made it very simple to understand how that Kundalini uncoils itself from 3.5 and then straightens and then pierces upwards. That's very nice explanation. Anybody has got, somebody was asking that there were some questions he wants to ask, sir. So the forum is now open and you can ask, sir, if there are any questions. In chat box, I think nobody has put, but you can raise your hand and ask question. We can do that now. Anybody has any questions? Yes.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Yeah. Balram, sir.
Yeah.
Generally, we request to put the questions in the chat box, but okay, you can ask now. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Just ask, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you have talked about the Kundalini yoga in chapter number 6, but I don't find any reference in a particular shloka in chapter number 6 regarding reference of Kundalini. Though the chapter mentions yoga meditation, it is chapter 6. Unmute, sir.
So in chapter 6, 272 and 273, just go through those, you will find Te Kundalini Jagadamba, Jai Chaitanya Chakravarti Chi Shobha, Jaya Vishwa Bijachi Ya Kumbha Sauli Keli.
Yeah. The second question is, sir, how does a senior yoga practitioner, at what stage of Kundalini he has reached? You have said more about the Anahata Chakra. And Anahata Chakra, the yogi realizes the Anahata Chakra. So how does it establish that he has reached to the higher level of consciousness?
Yeah, many of these things are explained in the yoga text only. The signs of your success or your accomplishment in yoga, they are explained, but mostly Hatha Yoga. And when Kundalini is awakened, so the signs are explained in some texts, Yoga Upanishads, Hatha, this Yoga Vasishtha also. So the thing is, Vapoho Krushatvam, Vadane Prasannata, and Suswara, all these are stated to be the signs of success in this path. First thing is that he will be free from all diseases and he will be always quiet and happy. But that happiness does not depend on external things. It is within. So such a few things are explained. And it should be a constant practice. It should not be a part-time job. Because Kundalini awakening is a serious process. Therefore, people say that it should be regular and the yogi should be totally devoted.
Yeah.
Like Shiva Samhita also explains that for 3 months, daily 4 times, if you practice Nadi Shuddhi, then you will achieve that. Then only you will become eligible for Kundalini. So first 3 months basic, that is 3 months Nadi Shuddhi, and daily 4 times. Each time it should be 20 repetitions. So that that is explained in the yoga texts. And fortunately, I was in the Netherlands with our Mahesh Yogi. So at that time, I could get some training in the meditation. So whatever little I could digest during that particular period, so that is still being carried. So I consider myself very fortunate that I got initiated into this hidden kingdom of yoga, and all credit goes to Maharshi Mahesh Yogi. So for several months I was practicing that, and few things I could experience also.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Wonderful experience. It must be a wonderful experience, sir.
Yes, sir. Actually,
Yes.
sometimes it appears that everything is just projected on the screen and we are not involved at all.
Oh.
The mantra, when we chant the mantra, we can feel the vibration passing through the body. This is another.
Yeah. Only witnessing. Witnessing as a third person. Yeah.
And third thing is dreams.
Yeah. You heard about it, you have experienced it. Yeah. Vimal ji, you can ask your question and we will.
Thank you, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, audible. Go ahead.
It was a wonderful session. Thank you so much, sir. I have 2 questions. I will tell both.
Your voice is not clear, Bob.
Little bit loud, Vimal ji.
Is it clear or not?
You speak if it is possible. I'll just
Okay.
repeat the question. Yeah, go ahead. Vimalji,
Yeah.
your
Am
question.
Am I audible?
Your question, you ask your question. I can hear it.
My question is, one can't realize self without his or her Kundalini awakens. That is question number one. True or false? Comment on this. One can't realize self without his or her Kundalini awakens.
Sir, have you heard his question or should I repeat it?
Not clear. Please repeat.
His question is, without Kundalini, can anybody have the, means realize the self? He is asking. Or is it means only with the Kundalini one can realize the self? That is his question.
Yeah, it is also a secret that in some texts it is explained that Kundalini awakening must have not taken place in this birth, but all jnana is related to Kundalini. Therefore, if you find somebody not practicing any yoga but possessing enough knowledge, you understand that he must have got that awakening in previous births. And Patanjali Rajayoga also attests this idea.
Okay. Yes, your second question. Hello.
Yes.
I think he's not there. Vimalji, your
Very
second question.
is implied that Kundalini awakening is a must for self-realization.
Yeah, as I told you, if all these prerequisites had taken place in previous births, then this birth you are directly eligible, like Ramana Maharshi, like other. But many of us are not directly eligible for self-realization. So therefore, we get all doubts, we need clarification, and we sometimes go astray and come back. So this shows that we are not directly eligible for self-realization. And very few, like Raman Maharshi, Sadashivendra Saraswati, they are directly eligible.
Okay, thank you, sir. In Haripatha, Mauli talks about Harinam Sankirtan only rather than all this jnana related to Kundalini. So, I mean, is it not contradicting?
Yeah, actually, different texts are composed for different readers, keeping their spiritual eligibility in view. So it all depends on the stage in which the particular sadhaka is there. See, Nama Sankirtana is the best, there is no doubt in that. And Nama Sankirtana can take us to Kundalini Jagarana, everything people believe. Even Gulab Ram Maharaj says, Anadhyastha Vivarta, that Nama. But Nama Sankirtana after Jnana is very efficacious. That is very effective. And before Kundalini Jagarana, whatever Nama Sankirtana is done, it only prepares one for the next level. So therefore, single Nama Sankirtana, but we understand before Kundalini Jagarana and after Kundalini Jagarana, the effect will be different. You find some saints, when they chant the name of God, they start crying. So tears roll down and there will be haripulation. They will be in good trance. Ramakrishna Paramahansa used to say that the moment I take the name of God, I get into trance. So this is actually after Kundalini, that they become one. The Nama will become mantra for them, very effective. But others, Nama Sankirtana becomes so mechanical that they will be chanting, at the same time they will be thinking of several things also. So therefore, it all depends on the stage of the person.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Sir, I mean, second one, please. Sir, can you please explain Sloka 66 of last chapter 18, keeping yoga in mind, which is as per Mauli. Yoga 60, Sloka 66, Sarva Dharman Parityaja, that one I'm talking about.
Sloka 66 in 6th chapter.
Na 18th chapter, Sarva Dharman Parityaja, keeping yoga in mind. Can you explain this?
Yes, actually, this Sarvadharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja Aham Tva Sarvapapibhyah Mokshayishyami Ma Shuchaha has been taken as the Charama Shloka in Bhagavad Ramanuja tradition, Bhakti Yoga. So, according to them, this is the essence of the entire Bhagavad Gita. Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. That means ultimately forget about all the dharmas and understand the dharma moola is Bhagavan Vishnu. Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. So this is ultimate prapatti, that you surrender yourself to the God energy. Aham tva sarvapapibhyo mokshayishyami. So I will relieve you from all kinds of grievances, etc. But according to Mauli, this is not the essence of Bhagavad Gita. He says, Yatra Yogeshwarah Krishna, Yatra Partho Dhanurdharaha, Tatra Srir Vijaya Bhutir Dhruvaniti Matirmama, in the same chapter. So Mauli says that this is the essence of entire Bhagavad Gita, that on one side there should be Yatra Yogeshwarah Krishna, the embodiment of knowledge, Krishna, and on the other side, Arjuna Dhanurdharaha, that means holding the bow in his hand. That means the Arjuna ready to act and Sri Krishna ready to lead or guide. So when both are there, then you as Jiva ready to act and Paramatma ready to guide. So then Tatra Shrihi Dhruvaniti Matirvama, everything is possible there. So Mauli says in the last chapter of Dnyaneshwari that this is the essence. That's why 66th shloka he explains okay, but he goes to the other shloka only.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
You are looking for the reference, sir?
No, this is 78 shloka, and 78, that is the last shloka of that. And he says, Ki Gita he Saptashati mantra pratipadya bhagavati moha mahisha mukti anandali ase. So here he says, this is the essence. Beautiful shlokas are there. Taisa vyasacha maguva ghetu bhashakarate vatapusatu ayogya hi meena pavatu ke jaina. And he says there, Manone माझे नित्य नवे श्वासो श्वास ही प्रबंध होवावे. श्री गुरु कृपा काय नोहे ज्ञानदेव म्हणे या कारणे मिया श्री गीतार्थू मराठीया केला लोकायया दिठीचा विशो. So beautiful shlokas. In whatever form it is, the Gita essence, Nana Gumfili Mokali, Unina Hoti Parimidi, Vasantagamichi, Vatoli, Mogari Jese. So it is like flower. Whether they are kept in a bundle or whether they are taken separately, the fragrance will be there.
Fragrance will be the same. Yes.
There will not be any loss of fragrance.
Yes.
So
yes.
this is the great idea he has presented.
So there are many metaphors like this in
Many
many metaphors. Yes.
Mahakavya. So
Yes.
people like us cannot really get into that. And I am a non-Maharashtrian person, but after coming to Nagpur, I studied Dnyaneshwari, and recently I translated, and I realized now that Bhagavan has properly brought me here in Maharashtra and brought me into the philosophy of Mauli, and Mauli also blessed. So I'm really blessed, fortunate.
And we are also blessed to have you here today.
Yeah,
So with this,
we are also
will
blessed.
conclude, sir. With this, we will conclude. And for the last part of it, I will ask Jaya Madam to give vote of thanks and conclude this session. So over to you, Jaya Madam.
So, sir, with your command over Sanskrit, Marathi, as well as English, you explain in such a simple and lucid language. First of all, it is said that the Vedas appeared effortlessly when the god was sleeping, and Gita was presented very consciously in the midst of the battlefield. And then Dnyaneshwari Mauli felt that it was, and it was in Sanskrit. And then he felt compassionately to bring it for the common people. He put it in Marathi,
Prakrut.
Prakrit Marathi. And one more thing, I came to know now that some of the secrets of yoga in Bhagavad Gita, which were remained untouched by the eminent scholars like Sri Adi Shankaracharya, Madhvacharya, etc., they were also very explained beautifully in this Dnyaneshwari. And this whole thing, I mean, you explained, I mean, whatever you told us about that the yoga siddhis is like a mountain, like you to climb it, like you have to start with the karma. So although they say ki the jnana is the the light and the karma is the darkness, but to reach the yoga, like we have to start with the karma. So you also, with your command over the languages, you made it so simple to us that the hierarchy to attain the yoga is the body, mind, and intellect. And without karma, we cannot attain the yoga siddhis. So we really thank you so much, sir. And we are fortunate to have you here to hear directly from you. I'm the one who has translated, written Dnyaneshwari in Sanskrit. From Sanskrit, it was brought into Marathi. And from Marathi, again, you put it into Sanskrit with so many verses, 9,000 verses. It is not an easy task. So we are really fortunate to have you here. And thank you once again on behalf of the entire Yoga Vidya Niketan.
Let Sonali conclude with one Omkar.
Yes, sir. So we conclude Yoga Pushpa-7, which Penna sir has made this Yoga Pushpa as Dnyaneshwari Pushpa. So just close your eyes, and we're taking this beautiful experience of Dnyaneshwari Ovya. We will chant one Omkar according to Yoga Vidya Niketan's tradition. So inhale fully and deeply. Om. Enjoy the positive vibration of Omkar on your body and mind. Slowly open your eyes. Thank you, everyone. Once again, thank you, Penna sir, for giving such a nice experience of Dnyaneshwari's Ovya.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
So
We'll
we'll
conclude the
conclude.
session.
Yes.
We'll end the session.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, the organizers also, for
Thank you.
keeping a wonderful lecture.
Thank you. Thank you.